Well, hello, everyone. My name is Alison Woodall, and I'm a relocation coach. That means I get to help you with the financial, logistical, and emotional issues that make moving to a new state so stressful. And today I am talking to Adam Lancaster, and he's a tech founder in the real estate industry, and he offers a great service for new construction clients in the Salt Lake City area. Adam, welcome.
Hey, thank you. Nice to be here.
Well, before we get into your amazing tech solution for people who are looking for new construction, I would love to know what you love about the Salt Lake City area.
Oh man, there's a lot to love here. I'm not originally from here. I have lived in California, in Southern California. I've lived in Phoenix. I lived in Wyoming, and Utah is where I've chosen to be after being in all those places. And certainly there's some amazing things about all of those places. But what keeps us in Utah, we love the outdoors. It's just so accessible. It's so great to be here. You know, you can take an afternoon hike, you can ski in the morning and golf in the afternoon. And then you combine that with a lot of, the combination of the things that I believe in, which are things like individual rights and gun ownership and all those things that I am a big proponent of, and hunting and all those things that I just love to do, combined with, the business friendly nature of Utah and the growth and the jobs and all the things that are going on here. It's really hard to walk away from the great combination of everything that this state has to offer.
Wow. Well, I've only driven through Utah, and I've spent a week or so traveling around, and it is a beautiful state and a beautiful area. I've not spent much time in Salt Lake City, but it's on my wish list of places to spend more time. Well, wonderful. Well, you've sold me on Salt Lake City. So now tell me all about this business that you've created and this to help people who want to move to Salt Lake City. You're specifically dealing with new build. Is that correct?
That's right. Just new construction, and really it's a solve to a pain point from a recent client moving from California. And so, we have a traditional realty business, and I had a client coming from California, Southern California and San Diego area, who wanted new construction specifically. And she had a pretty good idea of one of three cities that she wanted to live in. And so naturally, as a broker, as an agent, you would go to the MLS first and you start looking for what inventory is available that fits the criteria of this buyer. In Utah, at least, and I know in many other states, new builders or new production builders don't often put their inventory on the MLS, right? And so second, I thought, okay, I'll just Google search new builds in Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs. And what happened there is I saw the giant production home builders that are here had optimized their Google searches so that no matter what city I typed in, their inventory was going to come up. And guess what? None of them were building out there. So I got a lot of false positives on my search. I started to realize really quickly this was going to be really hard to collect all of the data on all of their options. And I really wanted to represent that well. I didn't want to just give them one or two or three production home builders out there and, that met their criteria. I wanted to represent them well. So I spent the next 3 days driving every single street in those two cities and looking for flags waving out, in the streets and saying, hey, we're building here. And then I called the cities and got a hold of their planning and zoning departments and said, tell me about all of the builders that are building in your communities. And they're like, well, I don't know all of them, but here's a list of some of them. And I said, okay. Then I went to their websites and I started looking through their archives of all of the plans and plats that had been approved for the last several months. And that was brain damage to do all of that, right? But in the end, I put together this list of 180 different communities that could be potential options for these clients. Now, I've asked other even agents here, how many new communities do you think are out in Eagle Mountain and Saratoga Springs? And the answer is always somewhere between 15 and 30, even pretty seasoned agents. There's probably 15 to 30 communities out there. 180 is what I got in my database, okay? And what's amazing is that these clients ended up choosing one of these builders that none of us had ever heard of, who were building in a 2-lot subdivision in the middle of an already existing and matured neighborhood. They had the best price and the best value and exactly what these clients were looking for. And so that service for them, developing that solution, was extremely valuable. So I took that back and I thought, this is a huge pain point and one that nobody has figured out how to solve yet. So I decided to build the database and make it accessible. And so now we have subcontractors that are out driving every street every 90 days. We have artificial intelligence that is scanning every city's meeting agendas and picking out when new projects are approved and sending us those projects. And we have bots all over the web scraping builders' websites to tell us where they're building, what their price points are, and everything. So now I built this database to serve clients better so that now when they come and they know, hey, I want to be in Utah or I want to be in the Wasatch Front, which is this Ogden, Salt Lake, Provo area, I can come to Adam or to his company and we can give you all of those options. By the way, not only do we have all of the communities available, but if you know, I want to live in a guarded, gated community, or I want to live where there's a dock out in my backyard, or I can only afford a certain HOA amount, or I want to be on a golf course, or I need to be in an age restricted community. We've collected all of that information. So whatever it is that you're looking for, we have it. Every single subdivision that is at least lots or bigger, we've collected and aggregated in our database, and we've been able to map it and be able to find anything you need. So anyway,
that's amazing. Well, and it should be very reassuring for people, even if they're not thinking about Salt Lake City. If you ask an agent and they say, yeah, about 15 to 20 new communities, and you're saying 128, I'm sure that probably goes for every city. And all these people who are stuck in a state that they don't love because they think that there's no properties available, if they had access to your service, it would give them hope. They can get, because it takes a long time to build. So you get that property and then you have time to plan your exit strategy from where you're currently living, if that's normally California for most people watching. Right. Because I speak to so many people who say, there are no properties out there. I can't move. I can't plan. But if they know because of your service that there's 128 communities, and then they can pinpoint the exact one that's perfect for them, that's an amazing service.
You've hit a really good point there. And going back to this example of my friend coming from California, because we had access to this, we were able to make an offer on this property that no one else really knew about because it was such a small community. We were the only ones to make an offer, and our offer was very close to list price, and it was accepted. And so we didn't have to worry about the bidding war and all of those things. And by the way, we are in, our three major metros are all three in the top 10 of growth cities in America. And so we are experienced that craze of the real estate market. But with this tool, we've been able to help people get in without having to fight and go crazy.
Wow. So how, you've got these 128 communities. How does someone know that they've found a community with a good builder?
It's a great question. And a lot of it really comes with experience, right? We've built with several builders. We've represented clients with several builders. We've personally built 30 homes ourselves, 30 custom homes ourselves. And so we know that world really well. And it's a small community and reputations travel fast, right? So I would say that's one thing, is we can just give consulting and advice. But secondly, we do produce guides on what to look for, what to look for in a builder, what to look for during the build. We've got punch lists and inspection forms for during the build process that we provide for free, of course, to anybody who's interested in the service. And so there's certain things that are hard to find, coming from a different state, and hard to know if you don't know the area, but that's why we're here. We know the builders, we know the area, and we can provide you with lots of tools that could be helpful.
Wow. Yeah. Because it is scary when you move to a completely different state and no one, you don't know. And for me, I'm not a building, I'm not a construction expert. So to have someone that you can trust, who's impartial, who can guide you, but has that real estate background as well, and the home building background, that's an excellent resource. So once you've decided that, this is the lot that you're going to buy, and with this builder, what's the process of actually building a home, and kind of what's the timeline?
Right. Generally, there are 4 or 5 steps that are shared across all builders. But I will say this is another problem and pain point that we've had to solve, because every builder handles that process a little bit differently. And every builder has different amounts of deposits that you have to put down, and at different times during the process. And so when you come to us, we're going to be able to sit you down and say, okay, this is how it works with this builder. And it may not actually work for you. Just the timing and those deposit amounts and things to work with a certain builder that you may like. And so we have that knowledge up front, but generally this is how this works. When you make an offer and it gets accepted, you're going to put some amount of earnest money down, and that could be as little as $500 or as high as $10,000. Okay. That earnest money usually becomes non-refundable somewhere between 7 and 21 days. And that earnest money, as many of you are aware, is just an amount that says, I'm interested in this home. I'm willing to put this money in an escrow account with title. It can be refundable for certain reasons, but then it becomes applied toward your purchase price at the end, part of your down payment towards your purchase price at the closing table. So that's generally what happens first. There's an earnest money amount that gets laid out. Secondly, what happens is there's usually an options or upgrades design meeting. Okay. And during that meeting, you're going to decide, do I like the paint selections that have already been made? Do I want to upgrade either, maybe I want to bump a wall over here, or maybe I want to choose to add a fireplace or improve the quality of the countertops or something. And you'll go through that. I've seen people do $200,000 worth of upgrades in their house because they wanted to make it bigger and choose every single upgrade possible. And I've seen people choose $0 of upgrades in their house, and it's just personal taste and what you can afford. But there's going to be some percentage of those upgrade costs that will be due at that meeting. Okay. And some people handle it by saying 10% of your total upgrade costs now is an additional deposit that needs to be made. Some people say, they'll do it in tranches, and they'll say, as long as it's between $10,000 and $50,000, then you just provide us another $5,000. And if it's $50,000 to $100,000, maybe you need to provide $20,000. So anyway, like I say, it's very different. And some of them are a little bit convoluted math equations to figure out, what those options deposits are. I will also throw in there, some builders are not even allowing any changes to the build, are not allowing any options or upgrades or anything because of supply chain issues throughout the country, and they can't get those new materials in place by the time you need to close. And so they're just going out and selecting what the majority of clients usually like to build in their homes. And then they give a variety throughout their community, and you just go pick which of those selections that you like the best. So you're not always going to be able to pick what you want.
Sorry, can I just so presumably you could do that kind of meeting via Zoom or Teams or something like that. You wouldn't necessarily have to be in person, just thinking if someone's out of state.
That's right. You can do that via Zoom, and we will represent you in person in those meetings, so that it's just important to have some representation there to read the room well, to make sure that the relationship is solid, but also to see everything that you may not be seeing. And so we go take those meetings for you when you're not present. There are a couple of other deposits, the construction deposit that often happens, and then there might be a final deposit. There's an appraisal that's going to happen toward the end of the project, but there's this big gap in between when you put a construction or an options deposit down and when you're going to close. Sometimes it's 4 months, sometimes it's 12 months, and it's just build time. It's just wait time. And it drives you crazy as a buyer, because it's like, when is this going to happen? And sometimes nothing happens for like 4 months because you're waiting on a city to get a permit, and then all of a sudden it starts building. So I'm going to say one of the value adds that we offer here during this wait time, because we've built several homes ourselves. And by the way, one of our founders is a construction management undergrad degree and has worked in this industry for a long time. And so we've built a lot of homes. And so we're actually going to go out with you, whether that's monthly or on a milestone basis, and go through our inspection lists. And we're going to make sure this home is being built correctly. And I'm going to say something right here that's crazy. We have gone through zero transactions so far where there hasn't been an issue with the build. And I don't mean big issues. I mean, we're there with the plans, and we notice maybe some switches are not on the right side of the wall. Or maybe we notice there's a dining room light that's not centered over the dining room table, and that's going to drive somebody crazy. And so we're going to go fight for you and make sure that it gets moved. We have had some kind of catastrophic issues sometimes too. We found that a builder had poured the foundation. They had started their framing on the house and even roofed it in. And during one of our inspections of the foundation, we saw that there was a crack in the foundation that was about this wide, but they had buried it. They had backfilled against it and just moved on, and they even framed over top of it and kept rolling, okay? And so we started digging away from that foundation, pulling the dirt away, and we saw that that crack started to get bigger and bigger as it went down. And at the bottom of that crack, we made them dig it out. We made them bring an excavator back and dig it back out, and that crack was this wide at the bottom of the foundation. And they just, it's whoever backfilled that basement just thought, I guess it's not my job, so I'm doing my job. I'm here to backfill. I'm just gonna, and they built over it. And the framer did the same thing. Saw the crack, didn't care, built over it. Okay, so we went and we almost had to go to litigation here. And by the way, that's a builder I'm going to tell you not to go build with, but we almost had to go to litigation to get them to fix that. And that was a huge fix. We had to get a structural engineer in there and do this, massive process to suck that foundation back together and support it and shore it back up with these huge steel bands. And anyway, so that can happen too. And it's happened just in the last few months. And so we're here to make sure that you get the house that you paid for and that you signed your names on the construction drawings as would be built. And so that process, going back to your question about the process, there will be a system of deposits that we've got to go through and a set of meetings that we go through to get the right design. And then there's just going to be a long waiting period where we build your house, where we're going to go to work for you. We're really going to go to work and make sure you get the house that you need. We're going to get an appraisal at the end. We're going to fight for that appraisal so that you get a value that's much higher than your house so that you can do a HELOC and finish your basement, or you can, at least that you won't have to come out of pocket more at the end of this house. And then we're going to help you close and you'll be on your way. So that's a general, pretty detailed, but that's a general overview of the process.
Yeah. And that's good. I've never built new construction. So I have no clue when all the different deposits are due. And I know you can upgrade. We lived in a house in California that was a rental house. And when I went to other people's houses in the neighborhood, my house that I was living in was super upgraded. Everything was upgraded. Right. So I know that, that is part of the process if your builder will allow. So what I'm hearing from you, from what you just told me, is that, yes, I could go to that builder and I could say, yeah, I want to buy this house on this lot from you. And then if I'm in a different state, I have so little control. There's nobody fighting for me. There's nobody pushing making sure that light's centered over my table, or getting a good appraisal. So that seems to be one of the really big things that one of the big bonuses of your service is that. So you're working as a buyer's agent.
Yeah, we not only have we provided this technology to just help people find what they're looking for, but we also have, we're an in-house agency, and we're gonna stand in. We're gonna be your buyer's agent. One of the biggest benefits to that is that you don't pay us. We know all of these home builders around here, and they're willing to pay us. The price doesn't change on the house whether you use us or whether you don't use an agent at all. And so you may as well have an agent in your corner. So many people sign up with, they walk into a model home, they like what they see, they sign up with the agent who's sitting there in the model home all day, and they don't realize what they're doing, which is signing up to not have anybody in their corner, okay? And whether it's as simple as, I need to move this dining room light, or it's as complex as, our deposit schedule is off and you have overpaid and we've got to make this right through title, or it's as complex as, you go fight for me to make this appraisal right so that I have enough equity in my house to pull a HELOC out, or whether it's complex as fighting litigation to get the foundation fixed, we're going to do that for you. And it doesn't cost you a dime. And note right now that home builders are not going to decrease their price if you don't have a real estate agent representing you. So this is a free benefit, a free service that you might as well have, right? Especially if you're away, especially if you're not local. We're here for you. We're here for you to make sure that you get the house that you signed up for and that you have somebody in your corner representing you.
Wow. Well, you've sold me on your service. I wish it was available in Atlanta, because we've just moved back to the house that my husband grew up in, and it's a 1970s ranch, and it takes a lot of upkeep. And I know in 4 years' time, when I leave this house, I will not be living in an old house. I will be, buying new construction. So I think the service that you offer is great. Who knows? I might even come to Salt Lake City.
Hey, let's get you to Salt Lake.
Well, perfect. Well, so, obviously it's a great service. So if someone is thinking about moving to, and you say it's Salt Lake City, it's Provo, and what was the other city that you cover as well?
Ogden. Ogden.
Okay.
Ogden. Yep.
Okay. So if someone's wanting to move to one of those cities, they want new build, they want your help. I can see above you've got your email address and your number. Is that the best way to contact you?
Our company corporate number, which also accepts text messages, 801-900-400-6. 801-900-4006.
Okay, perfect. And if it's, what is it? This is probably going to go live in May or June of 2022.
We are really hoping to have our website up, just in the first part of May. Even if we don't, though, the database is live. I just got off a phone call this morning, helping a person find a community. They've gone out and they were driving around. They got frustrated. They're also out in Eagle Mountain, the same city that I talked about earlier. And they're like, man, there's these two that we really like. There can't be more than two. And we got on the phone with them this morning, and even with some pretty tight parameters of what they're looking for, really low purchase price availability. I produced 16 more communities for them that they hadn't been thinking about. And so now we're off to the races in going and finding something that's valuable for them.
Wow. Well, perfect. So if you're watching this on YouTube and it's not 2022, then the website and everything will be up, but everybody will know about your amazing service. And if you're watching it in real time, nobody knows. So they need to call you right now. And then you get the pick of the 128 neighborhoods in the area. Right. Well, perfect. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate everything that you have shared. And I know that you're going to help so many people.
Thank you so much. Been nice to be with you.
So long, California. I'm headed off.